at the Prabhudas Lilladher dealing room with Dilip Bhat. Nigel, I don't know if you had the time to check. The markets have been a bit jittery. They almost threatened to go into the red, but now all indices are at their last half-hour highs, up about 0.5%. How are the nerves in the dealing room?
9 to 5.
Well, Lata, I think it's looking quite good, actually. As you said, maybe the Nifty is at the high point of the day as well, or maybe it's a Friday, but the mood is generally better around here, and the markets are participating. Definitely, it's quite good. But we have with us our guest, Mr. Dilip Bhat. Sir, what's your take? I mean, there have been rumors, there have been some redemption pressure, some of these mutual fund redemption pressures. What's the flow scene like currently?
Well, I think as far as the mutual funds are concerned, they're bound to face some kind of redemption pressure.
Okay.
But having said that, I think after a very long time, the mutual funds are in a very sweet spot in the sense that all of the vertical class of assets, whether it is gold, real estate, all have really lost the sheath.
Okay.
So I think the flows will not see a redemption in any big way, in my opinion. I think they will start coming into the mutual funds gradually as the year goes by.
All right. You know, there were a lot of IPOs that came out towards the latter part of last year, and things look quite good. Any IPO that came out, I think, gave you good returns, at least for the last 3 or 4. Interglobe, that's one stock, and the aviation space on the whole, there's a bit of catch-up that was playing out over there. Unfortunately, things not really going according to the plan currently. What's your take on the aviation space?
I think that's one sector that we will continuously see a good amount of tailwind, whether it's by way of oil cost or whether by way of the passenger load factor. I think both of them will provide a good tailwind. Of course, Indigo was the one where there was some disappointment because the second quarterly results and third quarterly results were not really up to the mark.
Yeah.
But SpiceJet really showed that they can earn very good profits. Plus, as what I understand, that they have also repaid something like 1,200 crores, if the CEO is to be understood.
Okay.
I think he has repaid. So they are generating good amount of free cash. So aviation sector is something one should look at and look at the falls.
So this current dip, you believe, is a good buying opportunity?
Very much. I think aviation sector provides a good hiding place, at least for next 1.5 to 2 years, and also showing a good growth.
All right. You know, Mr. Bhat, we've been talking to a lot of experts. Everyone says India's story is looking good. They're going to see some recovery in store. But the tone of the RBI governor really doesn't seem to be really in sync with what's going on. Over the last few days, I've heard some criticism as well come in for our RBI governor. What's your take on that? A bit of a divergence over there?
I think RBI governor really is one of the few people whom arguably one can say understands the economy inside out, not just the central bank portion of it. He also understands the economy. So I think one has to, in my opinion, one has to believe what he says.
Okay.
I think, and he's very clear in what he says that you have to compromise growth. Growth is really not going to come, but fiscal prudence need not be compromised on that. So I think that's a very important statement, and that itself will set the tone for the markets.
All right. I think that your target for the end of this year is around 9,000 odd. RBI governor's tone is going to be monitored very, very closely. But some of these banking stocks, they are mouth-watering valuations. Do you believe the banking space is going to lead us towards a target of around 9,000 odd? And how confident are you of the next 12 months in terms of the Nifty? What's the target of that?
Well, I think when you're talking about the banking sector, you're largely talking about the public sector, and maybe now ICICI also has joined the bandwagon. So surely I think a lot of pain is behind us at the moment. And I think probably if one were to go into forward, say by December 16, I think we would probably be over the hump. So I think as far as the banking sector is concerned, my own sense is that of course they will test your patience, but if you're really in for a long haul, I think apart from the public sector banks, even the private sector, apart from the private sector banks, even the public sector banks merits a look.
You know, Mr. Bhat, I was just listening into Lata. She was talking about the advanced decline ratio not looking so good, and we've been seeing that on a periodic basis. Sometimes the Nifty is high with a gain of around 50, 60 points, and yet the advanced decline ratio is nothing really to write home about. Even in terms of stocks at lower circuits, you know, we've been seeing around 200, 300 on a constant basis. What's your take? Flavor totally out of the mid caps and small cap space?
I think my reading of the entire situation is that there is a fear factor. And if you see the way the markets have been behaving in such a volatile way, I think even at a drop of a bad news, the market just sells off. So at the moment, it is a fear factor which is really prevailing in the market, and that is pretty overwhelming. But I think we all go through those phases in the markets. So I won't read much beyond that. I think we are running into the budget very soon, and hopefully we'll see a lot of actions on the budget. So pre-budget to rally anytime should be in the offing as far as the market goes.
All right, but this is the lowest expectations we've had getting into a budget. Do you think that could be that could be good in hindsight?
Sure. I think if you see, even in the parliament, now nobody is even talking about passing the GST.
Yeah.
So I think the expectations are really very low at the moment, and I think that in a way should act as a good trigger for the markets.
All right, Mr. Bhat, thanks so much for all those comments. That's it from here in Dealing Room. Back to you all in the studio.
All right, Nigel, thanks so much for that. Well, that's the check that we got live from the dealing rooms, but let's move on.